Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. Once again, we're here at Progressive Plants with Cameron and Liz, and it is, do we call it mid-January?
Yeah, it's mid-January.
Mid-January.
Right on.
Yeah, and so we just wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming season. Liz is actually starting seeds today. We wanted to talk a little bit about timing on seeds starting, not too much. So I'll link above another video that I've done with seed starting. So anyway, Liz, what are you starting right now?
Well, there's not too much that's going on right now. Vegetable-wise, you could be starting onions or shallots or something of that nature. If you really wanted to get a head start, you could try with kale or chard. So it's still even a little early for them. But I am growing some that are a little bit longer. So I'm growing Santa Cruz begonias, and they take a long time to germinate. But I have grown begonias before. The seeds are very small. So they come to you like this. And a little tube, and there you can see there's seeds down there in the bottom, and these seeds are pelleted, and so what that means is there's a coating on the outside, and that coating will eventually dissolve, but it makes it easier to handle seeds that are very, very tiny.
Those are so tiny.
So you can see them. The other seeds that come like this are also petunias, come pelleted, and in each of these I get 5 seeds.
For how much is a seed pack? I guess
this particular package was $10 a packet, which I think is a little overpriced, but I'm not buying wholesale.
So you don't want to be losing those seeds.
No.
Wait, did you just say $10 for 5 seeds?
I did.
Wow.
Yes.
So
Begonias.
that's very brave of you to be doing this in here.
It's fine. So it makes it really hard to see them. And I'm going to do 1 seed per, there it is, and then they get out of order, and then you can't fix them because that coating dissolves.
And then you can't find them ever again.
And then you never find them ever again. And these little guys, so there's one, that's all 5. I did manage to get them all in there. And these guys do like to have a little bit of cover on them, but you don't want to cover them too much because they're so tiny. So I'm going to use vermiculite. And this is just, you can buy this at Lowe's or Home Depot, or your independent garden center will have it. And it holds moisture. And so what I'm going to do is finally sprinkle this vermiculite over those seeds to hold moisture, because I don't really want to do too much dirt over them and bury those seeds, because I probably will never find them again.
So you're not burying them very deep because they're so tiny too.
Yep, and they only, oh, I can see that one is uncovered. And they only want to be like 1/8 of an inch deep with covering. And so when your seeds are really fine like that, using a cover like vermiculite that will hold water, unlike dirt, well, dirt will, but not like vermiculite. Vermiculite's like a sponge, and it will hold that water for longer and take longer to evaporate. So it will hold water, keep those seeds moist, and then provide a really fine cover for seeds that demand it.
I love it.
This is a really good way to start things that say that they want to be sown on top of the soil too, like zinnias.
Right.
So if you're starting zinnias indoors and you sprinkle those seeds on top, you can sprinkle vermiculite over it. It'll keep those seeds wet, and they'll have germination faster, sooner.
Okay, so you're planting begonias today, but it's January.
Yes.
So why are you planting them?
So
right now?
they're 20 to 30 days to sprout. So I have a month ahead of me.
So you have to have patience.
So I'm hoping mid to early February to come up. And then they're 14 weeks till they're mature enough to go outside. And so these particular types of begonias are a weeping begonia, and I'm hoping to put them in hanging baskets. And so I want them up soon, I want them big enough, I want to transplant them into baskets, get the baskets established, and then be able to set them outside June 1st.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Okay, so in the prior seed starting video that we did, we talked a lot about seed packets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I linked that up above. But explain just really quickly about, learning what you can learn on the back of seed packets.
Yeah. So the back of a seed packet should have all kinds of information, such as date to sow if it's an indoor sowing, and then or if it needs to be direct sown, which means sown in ground outside. It'll also have days to germination. So like, for example, these guys are 30 days to germinate. Another really long one would be like delphiniums or larkspur.
Okay.
If you were not going to try and direct sow them outside and you were starting them indoors, which you do with like the Delphinium elegans, which is like the Magic Fountains series and things like that, it's 30 days. And so let's say you sow seeds and your tomatoes are all up and 6 inches tall and you're still not seeing delphiniums. What you don't want to do is go flip that tray into the trash can and start over, especially after you put $10 on 5 seeds. And so
yes.
knowing how long it takes to germinate is really important. Knowing how long it is from the date of germination to the date of finish is really important. So you're not transplanting little tiny seedlings when it's 100 degrees outside and they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of packets will also have like a lot number on them and a germination rate. So like this one's a germination rate of 70% or higher. It's in a lot number 9. So like let's say there's something wrong and nothing germinates, and you call into your company and you say, I had lot number 9, this is what I ordered, nothing came up, what should I do? And they can say, oh my gosh, there was something wrong with that entire batch. We've had people all over the country that aren't having any success rate. We'll send you some for free.
So if you spent $10 on 5 seeds, you don't just say, oh, well, never mind, it didn't grow. You call the company.
Right, yep. And
Okay.
I had lot number 10, tell me what's wrong,
This
things
is
like
good,
that.
good information.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually do something very similar with the plants that we sell because everything has its place. For every single order we allocate out of a specific area. So if we start to get, calls saying like, hey, this died or this died, this died, then we can know that maybe it was a crop issue. So maybe like our vendors on things, we can go back to them. So we can not only issue credits to our customers, but whoever we got the source material from can issue credits to us as well. So information tracking is a very, very big thing.
So write your stuff down maybe. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And all reputable seeds companies should have a lot number, should have a germ rate. And if
So
they
you're not
don't,
going to get this if you go to Walmart.
you may.
You might.
I mean, Ferry Morris is a normal seed company, and then you see quite a bit of them at Walmart. Burpee, you see quite a bit of them at the box stores, and they will have all that information on there.
Good to know. I had no idea.
Yeah. So there's my next 5. It's a lot. It's a lot of money right there.
That's a lot of money. Right?
All $20 of begonias.
Some people are very interesting about what they decide to plant.
Yep, I know.
I go to the store and I say, I like the way that looks. And I plant it.
After knowing Liz for as long as I have, I've discovered that she has very expensive tastes in plants.
In plants, I miss plants.
And you plan ahead. I don't plan as far ahead as
Yes, these are for my hanging baskets. So I try to think ahead because, okay, so maybe it was expensive for this packet of seeds, but if I was buying like a Proven Winners, which this variety is not technically, but is related to, right? And I was buying Proven Winners, Proven Begonias, and I was buying them all at maturity size ready to go. I might have a hard time finding this particular variety, right? Because they're popular. And not everybody carries every variety of Proven Winners. So then I got to hunt down a nursery that might carry the variety I want.
Yeah.
And then from there, I need to make sure they're the right variety and they're doing the right things that they're supposed to be doing. And my cost is $5 to $10 per plant.
Which you've just
Hopefully have 20 or 10 now of these particular plants for 20 instead of 10 for whatever that is. I can't do math.
Yeah.
I have a horticulture degree, so math is not.
That is hilarious. So I guess this brings me to my next question. We've got a garden season coming up. We're in January. What should people be doing to plan for right now? I mean, like you're in a nursery. What are you doing? This is totally different than regular people.
So right now we're actually planting trees. So we've been pruning and planting trees for like the upcoming season. This year is going to be very interesting because we're coming out of a COVID year where COVID really impacted the nursery industry a lot, especially in the Pacific Northwest and in California. That's where they were kind of hit the hardest earliest. And since we didn't really know exactly how to deal with COVID, its mechanisms of infecting people or anything like that, they were shutting down entire nurseries. So what that ended up doing is a lot of crops didn't get planted. So we're going to be short on a lot of like one season crops. So shrubs and perennials might be a little bit tight to try to get this year. And then the year after that is where you're going to see the impact on trees. Because it takes usually 2-3 seasons to really get enough trees. But because a lot of these places were shut down or they had a lot of personnel that had to get quarantined, they didn't get as much done as they wanted to get done. And so you're going to feel those shortages this year. So my advice for this year is that if you've been planning out your yard and trying to figure out what you want to put in those little areas, if you see something that you want, get it. Otherwise, you may not be able to get it again for either at the earliest 2022 or possibly 2023 or even 2024.
Okay, because I'm starting to renovate a whole new area of my yard, and I haven't quite figured out what I want to put in there. But what you're saying is there's a possibility that I may not get what I want if I don't order it soon and plan. So people need to be planning on what they want to do this year.
Exactly. So there's going to be like a lot of like really common plants that I think are going to be in short supply. Like for instance, boxwoods are getting harder and harder to find because in other states they have to deal with things like boxwood blight. And so, you know, like Proven Winners and First Editions and all these other growers, they've actually shifted a lot over into the different holly species. So like Gem Box from Proven Winners, that's one that they've been touting, saying that it's like the top 10, you know, boxwood replacement or whatever, which is all fine and dandy. And I'm sure that's great in Oregon.
But when it comes to us,
hollies are very difficult to grow here. I know like the sky pencil holly is really popular. I don't think I've seen a really good looking one ever. I've seen them there kind of hanging on.
I've only seen one house ever in all my maintenance work that I've ever done that had a beautiful holly.
Yeah. And so
it's just the perfect microclimate in their yard.
Yeah, so like Utah still has a market for boxwoods, but because of the like boxwood blight and some of the other problems, you know, they're getting to be produced less and less, a little bit harder to find. So I think they're going to be really short on the market this year, and you know, a lot of houses and even like a lot of like commercial properties, they use like tons of boxwoods for hedges. So those numbers are going to get eaten up very, very quickly. So you may want to look to some other options. You know, like there's a carrageenan that's a drought tolerant. It's deciduous. It's not evergreen, but
what's the common name of that?
Carrageenan is carrageenan. It's a pea shrub. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, the globe pea shrub.
Right.
That's, you know, we kind of call that like the Park City boxwood because it'll grow up at high elevations, and it has yellow flowers. It's really pretty. Small leaves on them. So if you can find those, you know, use those. But I think with a lot of the plants this year that again are tried and true that aren't really going to be readily available, it's going to force us to kind of think of things a little bit differently. So we're going to have to find different plants for different solutions for, you know, the design problems that we have. So be prepared to be flexible on, you know, what your choices are, and maybe really listen to like some of your garden center advisors on what you could substitute for different things if you don't get enough of what you want available.
Okay, so
or you can start them from seed.
Or you start them from seed.
Then you don't have to rely
You don't
on
start
anyone.
boxwoods from seed, Liz.
Don't tell me what to do.
So what I'm hearing you say is plan ahead, be flexible, be willing to substitute possibly because you may not get, and then purchase early if there's something you absolutely have to have in your
Absolutely.
seed account.
Yep.
Okay, so that's really, really good advice. So Liz, any advice on like, you know, seeds? I know last year seeds were really, really hard to find.
They were, and I think they're already starting to be hard to find again this year, because even though maybe it's not apocalypse this year like it was last year, what we're finding is that so many people took up gardening.
Right.
And maybe they succeeded, maybe they didn't, but people found something that made them happy, which we all knew was a secret that we had, but now everybody knows about it. And so
they're taking our supplies.
Well, yes, and they want all my stuff. And so what we're finding is that even areas that didn't used to sell out and certain things are still selling out, like Floret Farms.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you saw, but they opened their seed starting stuff to the public at midnight, I think at the beginning of last week, and they were completely sold out of everything within like an hour after opening on the market. And they're just a popular all organic seed cut flower farm seed place. And they're small. They're a small local business out of Oregon. They've gained a name through different outlets and stuff, but their seed is gone for the year. You cannot buy it, and it's January, and it sold out within an hour of opening after last week. So, I mean, take the time to peruse your local garden centers. Give them your business. Those guys are going to know what grows best in your area and what will succeed. And then if they all run out, which they did last year,
Yeah, quick.
like almost all of them ran out, you know, there's nothing wrong with also buying from a big box store. The Dollar Tree has seeds, 4 for $1. Yeah, I know. But if everyone else is out, you can't snub your nose at the dollar store. Plus, you got a deal.
Plus you get a deal.
Yes. So the dollar store carries seeds. Even some weird places like Walgreens will sell seeds depending on the season. Your grocery store, there's always
I've
like a
seen them at the
seed
grocery
section
stores,
in
yeah.
the flower portion of your grocery store. Like those seeds are fine. Burpee is fine. Fairy Morris is fine. You know, it might not be gourmet seed like you probably would have gotten at Baker Creek or Florette Farms, but seed is seed, and tomatoes are tomatoes. I mean, you know what I mean by that. But so don't snub your nose if you see what you want and it's kind of similar and everything else is sold out. Get it
true.
while you can.
Beggars cannot be choosers this year.
Yeah.
Be choosers this year. Okay, so I guess just to wrap everything up, plan ahead, decide what you want. If you find exactly what you want and it's a little rare, you better get it now. Don't wait. And then be flexible. So, okay. Any other advice for this year?
No, you can always find us on Utah Gardeners too and ask questions.
Yes.
Yes,
Find us on Utah Gardeners.
We are
the
on that
admin.
Facebook page. So
On Utah Gardeners, you can ask Cameron any questions. Liz is the one who Cameron and I secretly just kind of sit back and say, Liz will answer that.
like that's a Liz answer. That's a Liz answer. That's a Liz answer.
Because Liz, if you don't know who Liz Hamilton
No.
is, she is the woman who knows literally everything there is to know.
That's not true. Gardening is a constant education. I don't know
And
everything.
she can constantly learn. So anyway, yeah. Join Utah Gardeners. If you're from Washington, D.C. or New York, maybe it won't help, but
Yeah, but somewhere in the Intermountain West, we have some pretty good advice, I think.
yep.
So
for the Intermountain West, Utah Gardeners. So, well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.